Hey, welcome back to Make Sense America. You know what? We're going to do it a little different this time, and we're going to keep rolling different from here on out. We've got several videos all over the place. You tell a lot of stories and all that. And you know what? You could thank your government for this one because we're sick of censorship. We're tired of it. You know, how is it that a government can influence a platform and make them not be able to show videos, right? I shouldn't even be saying that. You're like, oh my gosh, you're never going to get seen. Guess what? I'm not getting seen anyway. And the reason being is because of all the suppression. You can't have people like George Soros that owns a part of Alphabet Inc. that owns Google and YouTube, who is leaning so far on one side of the fence, it's not even funny. And people that threaten that side of the fence and anyone that supports them, they're not going to get seen. Certain stories on Google now are going to be taken down if you haven't heard about any of that in the media. Okay, well, actually, you probably wouldn't hear about any of that in the media. And there's a lot of things, if you try to look it up on Google, you're not going to find it. You got to go to DuckDuckGo because DuckDuckGo doesn't suppress things. You can actually find information there. Now, let's get into what we're going to talk about now that I got on my little soapbox, okay? This is starting out with Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi is a congresswoman out of Hawaii. She's beautiful, okay? Everything about her is beautiful. And why? Because she is someone who truly stands behind people. You'd have to understand, Hawaii is the most democratic state you're going to run into. Okay, I'm part Hawaiian. I don't look it, right? Look at that. You're straight haole, right? No, I'm actually a lot more Hawaiian than I look. The thing about Hawaii is, when it comes to the Democrat Party, they are extremely loyal. The Democrat Party can do no wrong in a lot of the Hawaiians' eyes, and they can't stand people like Donald Trump. It doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter how you spell it, doesn't matter what he could give everybody in Hawaii free homes and the whole 9 yards, they would still hate him. So when you have someone like Tulsi talking to Tucker, and they start out the whole thing where she's at CPAC, it's an amazing thing to hear what actually comes out of her mouth and why she's made the transition away from the Democratic Party. And you would think, my gosh, this woman's probably made millions leaving the Democratic Party, you know, because every time a Republican goes towards the Democrat side, boy, they end up making millions of dollars. No, she hasn't. She actually has a net worth of around, $500,000, which is not much for the amazing career that she's had. Now, let's get into this a little deeper. We're talking about how the internet, okay, is being suppressed, which basically means your government is killing off independent journalism. That's all it is. They don't want you knowing the truth. They don't want any of us being able to look around and see things. There are news sources out there where you go on DuckDuckGo, right? You can go on Ground News, which is great. I mean, those guys, they give you your choice of where you want to get your news from. You want it a leftist, a center, a right? Where do you want to see it from? Mixed faculty, which means it's kind of true, or high faculty where it's really true. I mean, these are where you get the real sources from. And how come you've never heard of that? Because guess what? You don't get to hear about where you get the truth. I'm not making this up. Come on, I'm 54 years old. I've been around a long time. I was raised by a Democratic household. That's how I know a lot about the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party that I'm seeing these days is not the Democratic Party that I grew up listening to. Okay? That doesn't make me an automatic conservative because I don't agree with them. What that makes me is a concerned American. Because I watch our freedoms getting pushed around constantly. You see that flag on my sleeve? I wear that every single day. And why? Because I love America. This country. I stand up for our troops. Am I a person that's going to go start throwing rocks at something I disagree with? No. But I'd rather have a discussion with you and find out why you have an opinion towards something. Maybe I'll learn something. Maybe I'll still be against it. I don't know. But what I do know is right now, America's being suppressed. And it's all because of power-hungry money mongers out there that have decided that our country is better off the way they want to see it than the way we grew up into thinking that we were supposed to enjoy it. So let's get started with a little bit of Tucker Carlson, some Tulsi Gabbard. Hang in there. It's about 2 minutes long. and then we'll get right back for a little bit of conversation on that, all right? So we'll see you in just a second.
2013, Tulsi Gabbard, who was in her early 30s, had just been elected from Hawaii. She was a member of Congress, first termer, a Democrat. And not just a Democrat, she was the single most famous freshman that year, and she was feted by her party. The Democratic Party made her vice chair of the DNC as a freshman that year. And she was on the cover of magazines. She was the future of the Democratic Party. It was 2013. Fast forward 11 years to the beginning of 2024. That very same person was a headliner at CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Committee. And not only did she speak there, she was arguably the most popular person who spoke there this year, 11 years later. Here's part of what she said.
Our democracy is under attack. The perpetrators of this attack are those who, in the name of saving our democracy, are destroying it. I don't use these words lightly. Every one of us who loves this country and who cherishes peace and freedom should be very alarmed by those who, driven by their insatiable hunger for power, are actively undermining all that we stand for. And almost every single day, if you're paying attention to the news and the headlines, there is some new assault and some new attack. Now, it's the Democrat elite and the swamp creatures in Washington who are doing all that they possibly can to keep us, the American people, from a very simple thing, having the freedom to choose who we want to be our next president. And it is clear through their actions they have no respect for us, and they have no respect for our fundamental rights as citizens of this democratic republic. They are so terrified that we, the people, may make what they think is the wrong choice. That in the name of protecting democracy and saving us from ourselves, they're actually destroying our democracy and taking away our freedom.
Wow, you can see why she was the most popular speaker at CPAC this year. But again, 11 years from vice chair of the DNC to headlining CPAC. Some people have asked, well, wait a second, that's awfully fast. This must be an op. She must be a secret lefty or a CIA agent. Well, of course, we can't know. But if she was, she'd probably be getting something out of it. She'd be really rich. But no, Tulsi Gabbard is probably the least rich, famous person in the United States. She has not cashed in, just the opposite. She's actually really suffered for her change of heart.
All right, that was little Tulsi Gabbard right there talking from the Conservative Political Action Conference. Now, look, you're going to say, what, is she campaigning for something? No, she's not campaigning. Well, we keep hearing this stuff over and over and over again. You know why? Because nothing's being done to stop it. Nothing is being done. If you're looking around at all the little things that you're going to start seeing all over the place, there's these little laws, little things that keep getting popped in all over the place that is seeding exactly what she's talking about more and more into the government's power. I'm not some conspiracy theorist. I'm not some guy out here trying to, right every wrong. What I'm telling you is everything that we knew 10 years ago has completely changed. Okay? Because they have learned how powerful the media is, how powerful it is to have these independent media out there that is telling people exactly what's going on, exactly the things that they're doing, and in the order that they're being done and how it's affecting all of us. See, but then you get to see all the snow and the fluff that's out there. And I'm not talking about all these DEI things and all this other stuff that goes on. I'm talking about, look how Biden just stood up for transgender on Easter. What is that? Does it matter that it's transgender? No. What it has to do with is the date that it was all set on. So tons of people would be outraged, and all these people would get up in arms and all this, and you're not paying attention to what they're doing. It's always the bait and switch. It's consistent. Now, we're going to bring a little bit of Russell Brand in on this, because Russell puts some of this into the best way that I could possibly say it or have heard it, and you got to hear a little bit of it because I really want you to, so just hang in there. We're going to watch another clip real fast. and we'll be a lot better for it, right? All right, see you in a second.
Despite repeated and expensive court challenges by third parties, state and US Supreme Court decisions have frequently upheld anti-democratic ballot access laws or ruled in such a narrow fashion that legislatures were allowed to rewrite laws to achieve the same effect. Beyond the ballot access laws themselves, the state and the media are set up to maintain the institutional control of the Democrats and Republicans. This has been accompanied by other anti-democratic measures such as the escalating campaign of internet censorship. And I also think that shows you the threat of independent media, because suddenly now, relatively cheaply, you can get name recognition, popularity, you can campaign broadly and widely, not going door to door, printing leaflets, all the stuff that would be required to get that enormous number of signatures. They've realised, oh my God, they're going to be able to cheaply gain popularity. Quick, shut this down, introduce censorship laws, start finding new terms like hate speech, anti-vaxxers, medical misinformation, do whatever you need to do to shut down anyone who might turn up in our little party where we all get to tell everyone what to do and what not to do. That's plainly what's happening, isn't it? Our little party where we all get to tell everyone what to do and what not to do.
Told you he's got a wonderful way of words, doesn't he? Look, how is all of this being done? It's being done very quickly and swiftly, and you don't have to have somebody sitting there monitoring this 24/7. What are they using? They're using AI, and they're programming AI and having it learn when certain things are being said, certain things are being written or whatever. Block that. Stop it. Don't let it happen. Independent media is being crushed and censored by this on a daily basis, and it's growing more and more and more. You might have been on Reddit one day, and all of a sudden you don't have enough karma points, and you'll get a little AI bot that pops up and says, hey, I stopped you, so this could be read by the mediator, and we'll see if your post can go through, right? That's a little friendly AI bot. What about the other unfriendly AI bots that are like, whoa, you don't need to be talking like that. We're going to push this over here. You don't even know it's happening. Look at for instance, of Lauren Boebert, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, when she went after the Twitter executives because they suppressed her account. She didn't even know it was down. She thought everything that she was putting out there, everybody was seeing, until she found out later it wasn't, and nobody was getting it. Because, see, that's the way it works. You think you're doing a good job. Everybody thinks they're doing a good job. And guess what? No one gets to understand what kind of job you're doing because no one gets to see it. Next clip.
The present effort of the Democrats to thwart third-party and independent campaigns marks a vast acceleration of this process. Democrats assert, of course, that their anti-democratic conspiracies are necessary to stop Trump and the Republicans. This is a cynical fraud. The defense of democratic rights is impossible without addressing the root cause of dictatorship, the staggering concentration of wealth in the hands of the capitalist oligarchy. The number of billionaires in the US has risen from 614 to 737 over the past 4 years, coinciding with the 4 years of the COVID-19 pandemic. Their combined wealth has nearly doubled, up 88% over that period. So since Biden became president, with all of the fanfare and rhetoric around fairness and diversity, the number of billionaires has sharply increased, and their accumulative wealth has sharply increased even more. I'll put my shoulder out of joint trying to tell you how unequal, unfair, and how unjust it is. All the while they're telling you, you have to vote for us because otherwise, Trump, and that would be a dictatorship. It's already a dictatorship. Don't you see? Don't you understand yet that people just prefer someone who is inherently anti-establishment just in their manner, rather than continuing to put up with what on some gut level we all know is disgusting corruption?
I absolutely love that. It's already a dictatorship, and it's this disgusting, gut-wrenching feeling that we all get. Because think about it. There's a lot of things that are going on currently. Whether you're watching this video or not, maybe you are, maybe you're not. I have no idea until you hit that like button. Okay, now, do we know exactly what's going on? Do we even have a clue? No, we don't. And why don't we? Because you have people that are out there that have humongously deep pockets. And because of those humongously deep pockets, they give these huge campaign contributions. And then, guess what? Things just happen to go the way they want. And you go, oh, come on now. We all get to vote. We all get to do all these things. We do. And what happens? Think about it. Think long and hard. Again, this isn't conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy at all. This is not tin hat stuff. This is just pay attention to what is going on and follow the bouncing ball. Pretty soon you might think that certain shows are absolutely wonderful that are on TV, but guess what? If they support the wrong content, you might not ever get to see them again. And why is that? It's called a dictatorship. That's exactly what it is. It's exactly why we fought the British way back when. Independence, right? We got our Bill of Rights. We got our Constitution. Anybody following the bouncing ball? That's what this is all about. And guess what? I'm not telling you vote Democrat. I'm not telling you vote Republican. What I'm telling you to vote for you and what makes sense to you and how you think that life is going to go 10 to 20 years down the line. Because currently, if you look at some of the laws they're trying to pass right now, they're putting the laws in place that are going to put holds on what other presidents in the future can do. Trust me. Okay. Next clip.
The oligarchic character of American capitalism infects every institution of the state, the courts and the media, and it dominates the entire 2024 presidential election. Billionaires sustain both of the two capitalist parties competing for their favour in the 2024 presidential election. Trump's support among the billionaires is actually weaker than Biden's, in large part because he's regarded as unreliable on key questions of foreign policy, above all, the US-NATO war against Russia over Ukraine. The Wall Street backing for the presidential ticket of Biden and Kamala Harris is broader, reflecting the transformation of the Democratic Party over the past 3 decades into the principal party of the stock exchange and major banks. Billionaires and oligarchs and the financial industry want Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in office, not Donald Trump, because Donald Trump might, perhaps will, say, I don't want that war anymore, it's unnecessary. His values might be different, his principles might be different, he's regarded as unreliable. So when you see all these liberals, is the word we're supposed to use to describe them, on MSNBC and CNN and elsewhere saying, Kamala Harris, or in the talk show hosts late at night, oh, you know, Trump, what a monster. They're doing the work of billionaires and Wall Street and the financial industry. And they're still trying to sort of maintain a kind of, hey, we're against the establishment. We're the voice that's helping people from diverse backgrounds and minorities and poor people. They're not doing that work. They're using that to distract you from the fact, whether they know it or not, from the fact that they are doing the bidding of an oligarchical class that includes Wall Street and more billionaires. Because the billionaires, they're afraid that Donald Trump might just go, we're not doing that war anymore, I don't like it. It's extraordinary, isn't it? The moral compass has been corrupted. It's swinging around all over the place. And the only way we're going to know what true north is by looking at the map of reality ourselves.
Moral compass is off the chain, right? It's tilting so far into the red that you can't even control it anymore. And why is that? Let's just take a quick look around real fast, okay? Let's look at everything that we deal with on a daily basis. So, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Democrat, okay? You start looking at all the news medias that keep flashing the same thing over and over and over. Democrat. And you say, oh, well, then the Democrat Party must be a better way to go. Again, I'm not picking on the party. I'm showing you a pattern, okay? Because there's a lot of people leaning on one side because the leaders of all of this and these iconic elite billionaires are funneling massive amounts of money to make everybody along the way a happier, richer person so that you and I start losing our own train of thought, our own ways of thinking. We start believing in half of the things that we're seeing on the mainstream media. We see half of the campaign promises and all these other things. That, you know, when you hear Joe Biden talking about if he's reelected, he'll do this, you're currently a president. Why don't you do it now? I mean, think really long and hard. Why do you have so many people out there that are starting to wake up and become against all of this? They're not fighting it by throwing rocks at everybody and going out and having massive riots in the street. Okay, that's another thing that you're getting from one side of the party, right? That's what was going on for the longest time. Think really long and hard about what we're talking about here. And what is it? Suppression. You hear it all the time. You're probably getting sick of hearing it. So am I. Because guess what? We can't even live a normal life and do the things that we want to do. Because if we do, we have to be careful. We might get tagged and labeled, and then all of a sudden, wow, our door gets kicked in, and you're a bad guy. You're saying bad things. Why? Because the truth hurts? I guess so. put some thoughts into the comments for me. Let me know how you feel about this. We're going to come back with more and more about these things as the campaign trail keeps going on down the road. You don't hear me fighting for one side or the other. You hear me exposing something to you that you should understand already. And if you're not, I'm helping you the best that I can. So do me a favor, hit that like, follow button, make sure you tap the screen, all the things that will help the channel grow, especially share. But if you're watching this, please just hit the share button. It really helps. And as always, we love each and every one of you, and we hope you're having the best day, night, whatever it is, wherever you're at. And we will come back and see you again soon. So you take care of yourself. All right? See you then.